Hey everybody, my name's Steve, this is Fighting Fandom, and today we're fighting Disney Plus's The Acolyte. So it's a crazy time to be a fan of anything right now. The blame game goes around for why something succeeds or why it doesn't succeed, mostly because it doesn't. And I've never seen this before because I'm usually, in my own little world. And when I go into these type of things, I start trying to get into it, and I look for things online, and I try to watch shows and go to YouTube and see what other people are thinking. And oh my God, this show has brought out some of the biggest whiny little bitches that I've ever seen in my life. And it's ridiculous. I mean, there's been fan blaming, like executive producers and directors blaming fans for why things aren't successful. I mean, it even got to the point where one of the actresses, so pretentious and so ridiculous, she got mad at people and rapped at them. She rapped.
Rap schmap.
Now, you can go online and you can see things on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, or YouTube, where you can see some of the stuff people are talking about. I looked and scoured for hours and hours upon weeks of doing this. That's why I waited till the show was done. And everything I heard from people was it's all racism and it's all bigotry and it's all misogyny, sexism, and all that stuff. The funny thing is while I did see very little of that, very, very little of that, I saw a lot of people complaining about the acting, about the way it was shot, what they're doing with the lore, things like that, where they would argue about this stuff. But a lot of the people would just turn it around, and instead of addressing what they were saying, they'd be like, yeah, well, the actors and actresses are facing this giant backlash of hatred, and it's unacceptable. This is bad. It's just, oh my goodness.
Oh, behave. Yeah.
If you're in a conversation with someone, right, and they're telling you what they think is wrong with the show, if none of those things are being said in that conversation, why are you bringing it up? It seems to me that you don't have any legs to stand on because the show sucks. You ever thought of that? Maybe the show's not good. You can like it. That's fine. Someone else's hate of a show should not affect your enjoyment. There's things that I like that other people hate, and I'm okay with it because I'm me. Someone else's enjoyment or hatred of something does not affect how much I like anything. I'm a fan of Power Rangers. I'm in my 40s. I don't care. It's horrible, but it's fun. It's stupid. It knows itself pretty well. We all have things that we like that are, not everybody's favorite thing, and that's okay. But that's the biggest problem I see with this fan base. They can't deal with someone not thinking this is the greatest thing ever. And I'm here to tell you, in my opinion, I thought The Acolyte sucked. It was fucking stupid. And I will tell you why, and certain things that I liked about the show and certain things that I didn't like about the show. But overall, I thought it was boring. Maybe I'm just not up to speed on the Star Wars Disney Plus universe, but from the couple of shows that I watched, it was not good. It could have been good, but it wasn't. I watched Book of Boba Fett, and I was like, awesome. Boba Fett. Crazy that they're making a show about a character. I know he's super popular, but he had like hardly any scenes. What are they going to do? Are they going to expound upon him, like do stuff from the books, or are they just going to make up their own thing? Either way, he's a space pirate, basically, a bounty hunter. This is going to be awesome. He's going to be in space. He's going to be bounty hunting. He's going to be doing all this shit, man. It's going to be freaking cool. No. It's not going to be good. It's gonna be stupid. Fuck. But there could be hope for the Acolyte. You know, I give everything a chance, and if I don't like it, I'll say it. But if I do like it, I will also tell you that I like it, because I don't care what other people think. Look, here's a problem that I think people have. I think they try to save face on certain things. Like if you're part of a group of people that feel a certain way, there's a lot of online reviewers saying like exactly the same thing. They're saying like almost like word for word the same stuff. And I wonder if some of them sit there and they actually watch some of this stuff and they like it, and they just regurgitate the same old crap because they have no sack to stand up in front of their other friends and say, guys, I actually thought this was okay. Yeah, it's not that good. It's screwing with the lore, but I mean, like, you know, they bought it. They could do whatever they want with it. And maybe this isn't for us anymore. Maybe it's just not for us anymore, you know? But me, I don't give a shit. I'm fat and I'm ugly and I don't care what other people think. Woohoo! Yay! Yeah, we'll get back to that chase scene in a little bit. But let's take a look at the Acolyte. Steve is going to fight with the Acolyte. Let's get it on! So right out the gate, I start this show, and I'm sorry, guys. This opening scene was so stupid. No. Who talks like this? Oh, God. I couldn't believe it.
Yes, my child.
We have unfinished business. Attack me with all your strength.
Ooh, I know that stance. I know what she's getting ready to do, but you don't.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are about to witness, without doubt, the most savage and terrifying self-defense form known to man.
Phil Collins. So, that scene was utterly just ridiculous. I mean, nobody talks like that, and just the martial arts dance like that. I mean, come on, guys. Like, stop. Just stop it. And I mean, it could have been a better scene. Maybe if the scene went like this, it would have gripped viewers right from the beginning.
We have unfinished business. Me with all your strength. Me, Jedi.
Jedi do not the unarmed.
Yes, you do.
Now that's how you film a scene. So they get into a big fight. So Master Indara catches her and takes off her mask to reveal Black Raggedy Ann? The little Raggedy Ann has a knife to Master Indara, sees the bartender, throws the knife at the bartender, but what Indara doesn't realize is that she also threw a knife at her! Oh my god, a dead, dumb Jedi. So the question you should be asking yourself is, why did she kill that Jedi? What's going on? So I'm not going to talk about each episode in order. I'm just going to be making fun of the show as a whole. And we get introduced to a bunch of characters from the Jedi side. We also learn that the person that you saw there, as I would like to call Lil Raggedy Ann, because that's her rap name, her name is May. And she has a twin sister named Osha, Mayosha. Doesn't sound like anything. And we learn that May is working for a bad guy at the end of the episode, and it could possibly be a Sith. From the prequels, we thought the Sith hadn't been around for 1,000 years, and that became a big, giant controversy to this fan base. It was unbelievable. There's videos out there of people saying, "You never paid attention to this character. Who cares that they changed some stuff? I mean, it doesn't even fucking matter. He's got a fucking giant road cone on his head. It's not even a big deal, man."
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message. Good evening, I'm Penis McGavin, and this is a special news report from your channel Black Tevin Action News Squad. Tatooine has been in upheaval since the fall of the Hutts. There's warfare in the streets, and right now, Channel Black Tevin has learned that there is a high-speed chase between a group of thugs and another party. To give us more information on the scene live in Tatooine is Channel Black Tevin's own Chuck Flack.
Thank you, Penis. We're down here in downtown Mos Espa, where the word on the street is it's not so much a gang as it is a couple of young people with very brightly colored scooters are chasing a man described as having dicks coming out of his head. There are other reports taken more seriously that it is not a man with dicks on his head, but it is the dickhead mayor of Mos Espa. Until we get our cameras on this and the Action Squad Black Tevin News, we may never know the identities of the ones involved. Oh, my penis! We have it! We have it! It's the mayor! It is the mayor of Mos Espa in a very slow speed chase with a group of young people. We're cutting through it now, bringing it to you on Black Tevin Action News.
Oh, fuck yeah!
Oh my God! I'm a motherfucking T-Rex!
Certified badass.
I am stunned. Completely stunned. You saw it here, folks. The mayor of Mos Espa taken out by young people and fruit. A deadly combination.
Woo! Incredible footage, Chuck. Do we know if this is a deliberate retaliatory attack on the mayor for his recent public support of Galactic Overlord Kennedy? Woo!
I don't know, Penis. I saw what you saw. I highly doubt anybody is going to make a play for the throne of the Overlord, the Kennedy.
Is anyone dead? Do we have bodies to show our viewers?
Is anyone dead? No, Penis. They were going 7 miles an hour. Nobody's dead. No bodies to show. Back to you.
No need to be a douche canoe, Chuck. Well, viewers, you saw it here first. A high-speed chase with a gang of street toughs and a gigantic political figure. This could smell trouble for the Galactic Republic People's Government of the Universe. But I would not worry. As long as we have Overlord Kennedy, we are in good hands. In other news, if you've seen this fuckle-faced phallus head, call us on the Black Tevin Action Rat Line. He's wanted for questioning by Earth people in a continuity scam that rocked Earth nerds to the core in something they call Disney Star Wars. This is Penis McGavin signing off. We will return to your regularly scheduled program, Earth Guide, talking about things that are weird but we find normal. Clip Glorp, and may the Kennedy be with you.
This has been a Black Tevin News special report with Penis McGavin and Chuck Black. Black Tevin News is a Headland Corporation. All hail the Kennedy!
Oh, God, I hate that Penis guy. He doesn't know I'm flapping his wife on Tuesdays, though. Woohoo!
Something isn't right here. I can't put my finger on it. Huh. Anyway. Okay, I think this is all good. Let's see. 5 fingers on each hand. It's the Tuesday. We all worship the Kennedy. Yeah, everything's good. Good to go. So we were having a conversation about continuity. And while, yes, you could point certain things out, like the Conehead guy and his statements from The Phantom Menace and what he said in this show, but I mean, until the guy sees it, you don't know. There's so many things in Star Wars that contradict themselves a bunch anyway. I mean, look at the prequels compared to the original trilogy. Obi-Wan didn't even recognize R2-D2. I know he said, I don't recall owning a droid, and he speaks in riddles. Same thing with Darth Vader and the father. That whole thing, he murdered your father. And I get it. I get it. But guys, like, retcons happen all the time, okay? If those are the things that you're going to get mad at, it's like, I understand both sides of the argument, because stuff that's super important to me, yeah, I would get pissed off about it. I would. But I also look at, this is literally being handled by an entirely different company. They have a showrunner that has an agenda, regardless of what you guys want to think out there. And you want to call me right wing, all that shit, you can call me that. It's not true. But objectively, as a person who is a fair weather fan of Star Wars, I like the older stuff. The newer stuff's just not for me. I'm going to make fun of it, but I'm not going to shit on the people that like it, okay? But if you don't think that Disney has an agenda, then your mind is fucked up. Because they definitely do. I mean, they've come out and said things like this.
We have to entertain first. It's not about messages.
Certainly, there have been times where, there's no way we're hiring a white male person.
Just kind of unspoken.
There are times when it's spoken, but
how would they say it?
There's no way we're hiring a white male person. Look, nobody else is going to tell you this, Mike, but they're not considering any white males for the show. They're just not. We wanted to hire somebody in the department a few years ago now, who was half black, but didn't appear half black. And there was a creative executive who was like, "We're not that's not what's wrong." I would guess that 30 to 35% of our top writers are going to be, gay, and so I think a lot of them lean into trans stories more than the average straight writer would.
Yeah, no agenda or anything like that. No, and do not say that those comments were taken out of context. They were not. It just is what it is, guys. This is the world we live in now. Look, I don't care what you want to do with your genitals. If you want to fuck the moon, or if you want to scissor.
Scissor me, Xerxes!
Or even if you want to rub your balls on a cheese grater. It might not be pleasant, but I'm sure it'll make a good book for the blind. Back to the show. I know I haven't talked about the other characters much in the show, the Jedi, the supposed Sith. I call him Sithra Miller. I'm doing this under the guise that everybody has knowledge of the show. So I'm just giving an overarching synopsis of it. So May is tasked with killing a Jedi without a weapon from Sithra Miller. And we don't know why she's going after the Jedi until later. And to kill a Jedi with no weapon, it's going to take a lot of power. How much power, you ask?
The power of one. The power of two. The power of many. Bitches are weird!
And the Sithra Miller character that we were introduced to is in episode 2. He's guising as an apothecarian, and he helps May out without her knowing that it's actually the guy that she's been training with forever. So before she meets up with apothecarian Sithra Miller, she breaks into a Jedi stronghold. And in there is Master Torben. She starts off with her rigmarole of attack me with all your strength and we have unfinished business and all that other bullshit that she says, and tries to attack him, but nothing is working. Now you see, Master Torben has been in a meditative state for 10 years, and he's just floating there, and he's got psychic energy blocking all of her physical attacks. So she has to leave, and that's when she meets up with Apothecary and Sithra Miller, explains the situation, and says she needs to do it her way, even though the Master might be unpleased, and she says, don't tell the Master, whoopity-dee, all this stuff, even though he is the guy. It's just a bunch of dumb stuff that everybody saw coming, by the way. Anybody who didn't think that Sithra Miller was the Sith guy, I knew it literally right when we saw him. I was like, oh, that's who's training her. Okay, I get it. So he mixes up a poison for her from the Bunta plant from her home planet. She breaks back into Torben's domain, sets it at his feet, reads him his rights. Torben opens his eyes for the first time in 10 years. He floats back down to the ground, grabs the poison, says, we thought we were doing the right thing, drinks the poison, then he's dead. And she leaves. Now this is the time where Osha's group, who I haven't talked about, and the Jedi meet up with May. And we're gonna cross over to that storyline now. When we meet up with Osha, she is a mechanic for the Trade Federation. It's basically like a mechanic for ships, but very dangerous. After May kills Master and Dara, the Jedi come looking for Osha because she matches the description that they were given. So they arrest Osha. The Jedi who comes to get Osha, she knows it's a guy named Yord, who is not insufferable at all or annoying.
Jedi Yord. Dick.
And he comes with a Padawan learner named Jeki, and we'll just call her 23. As they have OSHA in custody, there was an attempt on Master Torben's life. That was the break-in at the Jedi Temple on Olega by May. We're introduced to Master Soul, who has a very soft spot for OSHA, and I wonder why. Well, we find out that OSHA was his Padawan learner, and she ended up leaving the Order and becoming a Mechneck because she couldn't get over what had happened in her childhood. And what had happened in her childhood was she was under the impression that her sister had killed the coven of witches that she was a part of. Yes, I'm saying it. She was part of a coven of witches. When they were young, 4 Jedi were there doing surveys because it was a planet that they thought uninhabited, and now it has springing with life like trees and all that stuff. The 4 Jedi were Master Indara, Master Soul, Master Kelnaka, and at the time Padawan, but now Jedi Master, Master Torben. They were the ones that got OSHA off her planet, and that's why Master Soul trained her. We will get into that a little bit later. So through a series of events, Soul talks to the Jedi in charge, and they come up with a plan to go to Olega through Yord's protests. My God, dude, he was just awful to watch. It was just so awful. He was so fucking annoying. So when they get to Olega, they go to the Jedi Temple and find out that Master Torben is dead. They find poison on the ground, and that's when OSHA becomes absolved of the crimes because she walked away from the group and was in there before anybody else and was like, hey, this doesn't look good. But good guy Yord was there to save the day, and he said, I followed her. She didn't do it. I watched. She just came in here and picked up the vial. OSHA's the one that sniffs it and says, this is Bunta from my home planet. And she'd probably bet her life on it.
Okay, I'd bet my life on it.
So after asking around, they find out that May had frequented this apothecary shop, and that shop was not under the control of its original owner. They didn't know who it was. So that's when they send OSHA in there, and that's when Sithra Miller starts playing his games. He knows it's not May. He actually gets very close, says, you know, you look just like her. All the while they're being recorded. And that's when the Jedi bust in, and he acts like, oh, yo, I didn't do nothing. Oh, my God. He gets all this information. They said they know that he made the poison for May, and he's basically like, look, she's coming back later tonight. And that's where they meet up, and they square off. They set a trap for May. So Soul tells OSHA to stay back because he doesn't want May seeing her, and Soul and May face off. Not like the movie Face Off.
His face. The face.
They fight. So Soul's basically toying with her, getting the better of her, wants to know who trained her, how she has these powers. And through a series of wacky events, the thing that takes out these Jedi and lets May escape is dust. It's not as bad as sand, but it does get everywhere. On her escape, May's getting into a speeder, and OSHA sees her sister for the first time in 16 or however many ever years it's been. May also sees OSHA for the first time and says, Oshi? So, OSHA does what's natural because she blames her sister for the death of everything. She tries to shoot her and misses, even though she's right there. Yeah. Okay. So the next part we're going to get into is a combination of episode 3 and 7, since they are two halves to the same piece. Episode 3, we learn about May and OSHA's backstory. They were raised on a planet called Brendok. That's where the 4 Jedi went. What they were searching for was virgins.
Well, if I can't take his trophy, then I'll have to take his virginity. What the fuck?
Not those kind of virgins. Even though they did get a virgin. So what is Force Vergence? What I found, and you can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, Vergence is a space where the Force flows powerfully and freely, allowing it to be manipulated by the Force users that connect to it. It can also be called the Force Nexus. So they can use it to create life and other crazy stuff. And that's what happened with May and OSHA. You see, the Witch Coven uses the Force. They call it the Thread. And in this coven, May and OSHA were created. There was no father. And these are powerful witches. They worship under the stone of the Kennedy. In this episode, May and Osha are playing around under the bunta tree when they are told to go home because it's not safe to be out here because they could be seen. And they were seen by a young Master Soul. In episode 7, we see that he brings this information back to the group, and against Master Vernestra's wishes, Soul and a young Torben check it out. Because Torben has not wanted to be there. He wants to go back to Coruscant, and that will play into a little bit of his story later. So there's a lot to unpack here. The witch coven, the threads, all that stuff. I mean, people have made fun of it to death. You know what happened. You either like it or you don't. I thought it was so stupid. It just made me laugh out loud. After the girls get seen by a young Master Soul, they go under the guise of the Jedi being able to have the right to test the girls to see if they could become Jedi. Well, through the whole thing and their ascension, as they called it, which is when the girls take the right or whatever for the witches, and all the witches have this spiral mark on their head, May is all down for it, but Osha's not. She's just a different type of kid. She wants nothing to do with being a witch. She wants to go see the world, and she really wants to be a Jedi. The Coven doesn't want to lose the girls. They tell them to fail the test, but Osha doesn't want to fail the test. Master Soul intercedes. It's this whole thing, and he wants a Padawan, and there's a big thing with him and the other Jedi. It's just so stupid. It's so forced and so dumb. It doesn't play out organically. You know you're watching a show. You're not, at least I wasn't invested into it where I could suspend my disbelief and go along with the story. It just wasn't good to me. It wasn't well acted. I thought that the cinematography was really cool, but the story itself was very, very low and subpar. Osha doesn't fail the test, and she wants to go be a Jedi, tells her mommy that she wants to be a Jedi, but May and mommy number 2 aren't down with that, and she basically tells May to stop her at any cost. You stop her then. So May traps Osha in a room and starts a fire, and that right there is the crux of the story with May and Osha, because Master Soul told Osha that fire is what wiped out the Coven. When in actuality, in episode 7, we learn when Soul and Torben got there, it was actually Master Soul that killed the mother when she turned into the smoke monster from Lost. Held his lightsaber up, and she reanimated herself in the lightsaber, basically. It was so stupid. It was so dumb. Mommy number 2 starts a revolt, and they all start fighting. And the other Jedis come back, and that's when the mind meld happens. The witches do their power of many. That bullshit, that was so fucking stupid. They do that, and they take over Master Kelnaka, the Wookiee's mind, and use him to fight. Master Vernestra comes down and saves Soul and Torben from getting ripped apart from Master Kelnaka under the control of the power of many. And when she gets the mind control off of him, it kills all the witches. It kills them all. Like, what a dumbass power. Like, seriously, what a stupid power. It takes 40 of us to control something, but if someone else, one person stronger, comes along and, wipes us out of there, it just kills us all. And if that's what Master Vernestra did, whether just breaking the mind control killed them, or she went in there and felt all of them and killed them, well, then their force power wasn't strong. Certainly not strong enough to create life. But I have to go with she just disconnected the mind control, and that's what killed them all, not the fire. And that's just stupid. So when we left off with May, she was just running away from getting shot at by OSHA. She meets back up with Sithra Miller, thinks she's been betrayed, but he tells her that he has tracked down Master Kelnaka. So they travel to the place where Master Kelnaka is. It's in the middle of the woods, and yeah, they get there, and he's dead. But before they get there, May has this great idea. She basically traps Sithra Miller and says, you know what? I'm just gonna turn myself in to the Jedi Council. They'll have mercy on me because I have information about the Sith or, you know, the Master, whatever. I have information that they want. So she turns allegiances, and there's so much of that in this show. People just turn allegiances like, oh yeah, you like that? Oh, I have this. Oh, okay, here. It's unbelievably ridiculous. It's so stupid. So she goes into Kelnaka's house, and he's already dead. Off-screen death. And this was, we had this episode before the 7th episode where the witches took over Kelnaka's brain and we got to see a Wookiee Jedi fight. So at that point in time, we were all like, damn, they just missed a golden opportunity. And even after we got to see Kelnaka fight the other Jedi, I think it was still a missed opportunity because of what happened in episode 5. Episode 5 was basically just a giant fight. May's in Kelnaka's house, and Sithra Miller comes out as the Sith. And they have a big fight, and he basically kills Jecki, Yord, who I didn't care about. And a bunch of red shirts. So Sol and Sithra Miller face off. Sol tells him to take off his helmet, and he says no, because you'll get in my mind. And people are like, well, what the hell is he wearing? So apparently in the books or in some lore, there's this ore or material called catorsis or cortosis or something like that. And that can help prevent your mind from being psychiatrically gotten into. Kind of like Magneto's helmet and Professor X and, Juggernaut's bowl that he wears on his head connected to his shoulder neck.
Hey, I have a neck. You just can't see it because of this thing I'm wearing on my shoulder neck. Oh, crap.
So they have a big fight.
So Jackie gets his helmet off, gets killed, and then Sol has this to say. Sithra Miller actually has one of probably the best lines in the show.
Was that its name?
Sithra grabs up May because she betrayed him and threatens to kill her. Sol asks what he wants, and Sithra wants a Padawan of his own, and to be left alone to practice his Sithing. Sol doesn't like that answer. Sol gets the upper hand, and after kicking his ass for a while, he's about to kill him, and then we hear an oh-so-familiar voice. Sol! It's Osha. She stops Sol from killing him. Sithra makes some claims about Sol, questioning Osha's devotion to him. Could Sol be hiding something? Yes, we already talked about it. Sol tries to play it off and questions Sithra's mind.
His mind is twisted by darkness.
I ain't be twisting no minds or nothings. Sol says that thing about Jedis not fighting unarmed people.
The Jedi do not the unarmed.
Well, that stupid claim leaves enough time for Sithra to get his weapon back. And old Osha has an idea. See, there were these giant bugs earlier in the episode, and they were attracted to light, so Osha just slaps it on his back, and yeah, well. This amazing Sith that took down all those Jedis and went toe-to-toe with Master Sol is way too overmatched for some bugs. You would have to be an idiot to get taken out by these bugs, especially when he has a goddamn lightsaber. Sithra Miller, dick.
So I like the fights in this show. I'm a sucker for kung fu movies. I had a huge Jet Li, Jackie Chan, Sammo Hung, like a giant collection of movies. And I just like this type of stuff. I'm a sucker for it. But I will tell you what. This show just continues to just kick itself in its own dick. I swear the show hates itself, right? So one of the things that I had a huge problem with were the side characters. I didn't understand why we were getting involved with them whatsoever. They barely told us anything about them. Everything was learned through exposition, except for a scene with Jackie training. Everything else was just dumb. Like, just to kill them off and have it be like, oh my god, this Sith killed all these Jedi. Oh my god, this is a big problem that we have. Yet he's gonna get taken out by bugs flailing around his arms like an idiot. Like, you couldn't just do like something with the Force, just make them all scatter. Like, it's just, there's no continuity in the show. Like, May can do something where she scatters dust, and I know, yeah, dust and bugs aren't the same thing, but it was a force push, and this guy can't do anything. It's like the Ninja Turtles cartoon in the 80s where they have sharp weapons and swords and size, and they cut down the chandelier that comes down and catches the guys. It's so stupid. This show hates itself. It kicks its own ass all the time. It does the stupidest things. Just constantly stupid. And then Jackie fights with the Sith and has probably, except for Soul, probably the longest battle with the Sith. I mean, I guess that's alright. I mean, I guess a Padawan can go that far. Like, I've said this to other people. We don't know her exact sword skills, and you know how there's a Padawan in every generation, and one is really good at something. Maybe hers was lightsaber dueling or wielding, but I don't give enough credit to this show to explain that, because that's what this show does. It does not explain things, and the things that it does explain is the chaos that's happening in the back. It doesn't explain the characters real well. Doesn't make me like them at all. Like, I did not care if all of those Jedi died, even Soul. Did not care. May and Osha could have died, and it could have steered to a different direction and went with Sithra Miller, and I'd have been like, oh, okay. Because none of it matters. It just doesn't matter. It's stupid. With this, you know you're watching something that is written, and it's just there. It's not like I suspend my disbelief enough to really get sucked into this world. And I couldn't stand it. It was so stupid, the decisions they made. We didn't get to know any of these people long enough for it to be an impactful death. And if you were sad about this, it's just that internet thing where there's that one weird character that has nothing to do with anything. It's like, oh yeah, dude, turtle guy for president, man. That guy is so cool. And they've done nothing. They've done nothing to warrant that liking. Jackie dies, man. We're gonna revolt. Yeah, because she was so critical to the story with all her nothing that she did. And I'm not gonna say anything about Yord, because that was glorious. Oh my god, did that make my day. In fact, yeah, he's a doofus. Whatever. Well, at least he knew his Star Wars in real life.
But if you can't look and see that Anakin blowing up the Death Star possibly killed millions and millions.
Right. Okay, so May and Osha are reunited, and it feels so good. And it doesn't go down the way that May wants it to go down. There's a whole bunch of arguing, and May's trying to say Soul stole you from us and broke up the family and destroyed everything, and Osha's, no, he gave me a family, blabbity blabbity floobity flip. And nobody really cares. It's bad dialogue, and it's stupid. And they argue for a little bit, and May force pushes her and gets this great idea. Not only is it a horrible idea, it is quite possibly the stupidest scene I have ever seen. It's definitely the dumbest scene I've seen in this show. So May, looking at a prone and stunned Osha, says, what could we do to Disney up this bullshit right here? I got it. We will switch places. And the Jedi, who are super smart and read minds and know everything, will be none the wiser. But whatever will I do with this hair of mine? This is not the same as Osha's hair. I have an idea. I will take this lightsaber upon which Yord failed everything. I don't know, I don't even know if it's his, but I'm just blaming him for everything. And I will hold it like this, and I will cut my Raggedy Ann locks off, and I will become my sister. Does this seem like a really stupid plan? Yes, but it'll work. For I do not have a big circle thing on my fucking head.
This is arguably the gayest Star Wars.
That it is. Yeah, it's fucking dumb. It's really fucking stupid. So the episode ends with Kamir finding Osha in the forest, and he takes her to where he goes. Wherever he goes. Fucking... He's Sithra Miller. He's probably stealing alcohol out of someone's cave and getting on the Bedrock News. What does he do? I don't know. And May wakes up Soul, and they get in the ship together. Now, I left a character out on purpose, and that is the character of Basil. He is like a groundhog thing. But he's their tracker. He can smell everything, and we see him getting into the ship, and he knows, obviously, that that's not Osha and that is May. Cool. Hinging the deaths of a ton of Jedi, switching over to trading places, kind of Parent Trap-ish, to the fucking groundhog thing knows that the situation is not what it seems. Ooh, man, the tension. You can cut it with a soft dick. Like, it's so stupid. It's like, I don't understand. Like, this show hates itself. That's all I can say. The show hates itself, and that's it. It just does. I need a release of endorphins. So that wasn't uncomfortable for anybody, was it? It's May, Soul, and Basil are on the ship, and they're leaving. And Soul basically puts out a distress call to Vernestra and says, all the Jedis that I was with, I accidentally got them killed. And not much happens in this episode. It's a lot of story. I'm going to sum up what happens with May and Soul. You can guess. May knocks out Soul. Soul knocks out May. He puts her on this table and straps her down, but doesn't take her magical escape option, the pip droid, away from her. And you can guess what happens.
Welcome back to Guess What Happens Next. It's the game show where you guess what happens next. I'm Jack Dugan, and here we go. Our contestant tonight is a guy named Steve. We are going to be talking about Star Wars The Acolyte. Steve, are you ready to guess what happens next?
Yes, I am, Jack Dugan.
And here are the rules of the game. So, Steve, are you ready to play Guess What Happens Next? Your first question, what happened next?
I'm going to go with something stupid as fuck. Final answer locked in.
And the answer is something stupid as fuck. You win! You don't really win anything, but you do get to wipe the dignity off that you lost watching this show. And remember, the next time you're watching a shitty show with a thin plot and you think you can guess what happens next, it might just be you who guess what happens next. Thanks for playing. I'm Jack Dugan.
So Vernestra and the Jedi get the distress call, and they're going to go to the Outer Rim where Kelnaka lived in the woods and check everything out. Yeah, so Osha and Sithra. You think scenes can't get any worse in this show? Well, it does. Osha is trailing Sithra and thinking, like, once he lets his guard down, I'm going to kill him. But he doesn't let his guard down. He lets all his clothes down, and she just watches. It's like, hey, look at that dick. Haha. Cool. Well, he takes a bath in some hot springs, and then he does the thing that every freaking dude does in any of these shows, the walkout of the thing with his dong swinging. They don't show it, but it's just that, and he's looking at her just like, I have my dick out. Do you see this? We're gonna have a normal conversation. Yeah, it's fucking dumb. So they get back into his cave where he's living on Lost Island, and she asks him, where'd you get all those scars there, Sithra? And he says, my person who threw me away. She said, was it your Jedi master? Was it? Was it little Sithra? So he points to the helmet and says it's cortosis and tells her that it blocks out everything like they do when they were younglings, so it's just them and the Force. Basically, the end of this episode, she puts on the helmet. That's it. It was stupid. It was dumb. And I hated every second of it. It's like the more I watched this show, the more I hated it. It was kind of weird. Like at first it didn't even bother me. I was just like, oh, this show's kind of stupid. But the more it went, I just started hating it and hating it and hating it. Like there was dumb parts where people was like episode 3 was like the worst episode they'd ever seen. I couldn't stop laughing at the whole power of many thing. I thought it was so funny and so dumb. But there's nerds out there, that they're rewriting the Force and they're doing all this stuff and it's like they own it. They're gonna do this shit. When have they proven to not do this type of stuff? Like, come on, people. Before we get to the last episode and the closing of this show, which I'm gonna skim over because it's really stupid. It's really, really dumb. No, we're gonna go right into it. Let's go right into it, and I'll just go to my closing stuff after that. What happens is they go back to Brendok, right? Because May escapes off of Soul's ship, and they go down to Brendok. All of them, though. Everybody ends up going back there. Soul goes back there. Sithra Miller goes back there with Osha, and they go back to the Witches' Coven and where all the witches were mowed down. So it comes to these pivotal scenes where Osha doesn't believe that Soul killed their mom. She doesn't believe it. But in a turn of events, when Soul catches up to May makes him admit it.
I did.
Why didn't you tell me?
And we get to see something amazing. Something we thought we saw first when Darth Vader came in and he would choke people out with the Force.
Because I love...
Well, that's what Osha ended up doing, and it was kind of crazy because when she had the helmet on, the Cortosis helmet, she had this vision of May killing Soul without a weapon. Was it her? Probably, because no one can tell these two apart. So, Osha kills Soul, and he tells her that it's okay to kill him because he loves her. So when Master Vernestra gets there, something very interesting happens. She feels. She's like, he's alive?
You're alive.
So yes, Master Vernestra was Sithra Miller's old master. It's what they're leading to. But something weird happens. When Sithra Miller and Osha were leaving, a very weird Smeagol golem-y creature was staring at the Preciouses, and people have been led to believe that this is Darth Plagueis, and I'm sure it is, because why wouldn't this show do this? Why wouldn't they? Of course they would. I'm not even going to talk about that because I don't know enough about it to talk about it. All I know is that people are in an uproar. I know that. So what happens is they close this all out. Master Soul is dead. Osha and May make a run for it, and they go back to that tree, the Bunta tree, where they played around as children. They did their stupid little sayings and their stupid little stuff that they did that I hated. And Sithra Miller comes out of nowhere and says, hey, if I can track you, the Jedi can track you. And they come up with a plan that's even better than May cutting her hair. They're gonna wipe May's mind, and Osha's gonna go train with Sithra Miller. Why does May's mind need to be wiped? Because they're gonna use her to find Osha. Unless they all go together. Star Wars The Acolyte. Dick. But you can't do that because the Sith and the rule of 2, I guess. Or whatever. Or what, I don't know what's happening. Because Plagueis is involved, and this is involved, and that's involved. Why did May have to stay back? The plan is so stupid. It's dumb. It's dumb. Don't argue with me. It's stupid. I'm sure someone in the comments is going to be like, well, what really happened is this, and this is what was supposed to, this is what happened, and this is what that. No, it was stupid, okay? Oh, God. So what happens when the Jedi get back to Coruscant? Through the episodes, there's been an inquisition from the senators or whatever, the councils of other things outside the Jedis, and one really has it in for him. And Master Vernestra just basically says, look, I don't give a shit what you say. The Jedi are fine. And they're like, well, what happens if one rogue Jedi, gets this type of power? It could mean doom for everybody. So what do they do in their infinite wisdom? They cover it up. So the Jedis are liars, made out to be bad guys in this show, even though they really didn't do anything wrong except the cover-up part, which was not the Jedis that we were with the whole time. Soul didn't really do anything wrong. How was he supposed to know that if he defended himself from the giant smoke, that the woman would reappear, or that if you stab the smoke, you would harm the physical person that was inside the smoke. None of it makes any sense. It's so stupid. They tried to paint the Jedi in a bad light. And what I find funny is that this no good and evil thing, just like the actor said, oh, the great thing about Star Wars is there's really not good and evil. It's all in how you look at it. No, dude. There was a dark side and a light side. I understand that the mixes of gray and all that stuff, and people aren't all good or all bad, but that's not the point. It is not supposed to reflect the real world. If I wanted to watch the real world, I would go outside. But when I want to watch something like this, I want to see good versus evil. Doesn't mean good always has to triumph. I just want to see that. I'm tired of seeing real life reflected in fake life. It's so stupid. You put real life politics into your bullshit. Now, if the politics come from inside the set parameters of the show, fine. Fine, that's fine. But if I hear like a pronoun argument, or the droid is a lesbian or whatever, like, I'm sorry, it just takes me out of the show because I don't give a fuck about that stuff. Not in my fantasy. Look, if you want to be binary and go fuck a set of stairs, I don't care. That's fine. Can't we just be characters in a fantasy world and tell a good story? That's all I want. So at the end, they blame Soul for everything. Vernestra says, oh, it was just a crazed man and blah, 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 all this stuff. So the ending scene. Vernestra's like, I gotta go talk to somebody. And then a door opens and it pans back and it's fucking Yoda sitting there. And I'm just like, I've washed my hands of this show.
Sorry to disturb you, Master. We need to talk.
They just added stuff into this just to do it, just to get people talking as opposed to telling a great story. This was not, if you like this story, fine. That's perfectly fine. You are allowed to. And I would even like you to post why you liked it. But let's do this. Let's try to be different from other YouTube channels. I don't care if you guys argue. I don't care if you guys want to discuss what you like and what you didn't like. Let's use some new arguments, okay? I don't want to hear about you're racist, you didn't like this, you're sexist, you didn't like this, or it's woke, I didn't like this. Look, I know it is. I know it's woke. I know there's racist fans, okay? But let's not give them the platform to spew their shit, okay? Let's just do that. Let's do that. Let's be like old fans from back in the day that used to argue about how long Batman's cape was and who drew it better, okay? Because that was awesome. So, why is the show called Fighting Fandom? Well, what I've learned over doing this is that there's a set group of fans from the old time that think everything that happened before was better. Like this.
But I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
And that stuff like this.
Cause I'm a badass, princess.
No!
Is worse when they're both bad. I mean, Luke Skywalker, I'm sorry, but in Luke Skywalker and A New Hope, I'll let Red Foreman take that.
Luke Skywalker this, Luke Skywalker that. I'm sick of hearing about that little fruit.
I couldn't stand him. And I mean, Anakin and the sand and the, no, because I'm so in love with you. I mean, come on, guys. It was terrible acting. Terrible acting. I still love the movies, but it was terrible acting, okay? There was just as much dumb stuff then as there is now. Now, out of the new movies, I did not like how they deconstructed the character of Luke Skywalker. I didn't care for that. I didn't think it was a good job. I just didn't like it, okay? But once the messaging started with Disney, they seem like they just can't help themselves, and that's what they do. I shouldn't know the sexuality of a person going in to play a character. That shouldn't be out first and foremost. It shouldn't be. It really shouldn't, guys. And I hear this, oh, the first binary person. I don't care. I don't care. Are you going to be good at playing this character? And then I watch, and it's like, no. But all I hear from Disney in their interviews and in their shit is this is what it is, and they barely talk about the show. And it's frustrating. And then when you get the fans behind it, and they feel like they've been wronged or they've been slighted, it causes controversy between two groups of people that love the IP, but some are just out of it because they don't like what's being done with it, and then there's new people that love it because this is what they grew up on. Now, what you have to realize are these things. Try to remember how you were when you were young and you saw Star Wars for the first time, the old ones, and how it made you feel. There's probably some kids out there that see the new stuff that love it. And you know what they're not doing? Arguing about identity politics, arguing about trans, lesbian, gay, whatever, because they don't look at it like that, okay? So don't ruin it for them. But for you older people that this is all you got and this is what you want to do and you want to be cynical, look, I'm going to make fun of everything, okay, guys? But when it comes down to it, I don't really care what you like and what you don't like. I think we should be able to have a discussion about these things without attacking each other and without saying, well, you are this and you are this. That is it. Because that's ridiculous, okay? It's stupid, it doesn't get you anywhere, and it's dumb. Let's be adults about this. And remember, this stuff is made for kids, guys. And I know, trust me, like I said, I'm into a lot of stuff like that, but we have to remember at the base of it, an IP so big as this, the people that grew up in the 70s and 80s, this new Star Wars doesn't owe you guys shit. You are not owed anything. And if you feel slighted, then don't watch it. And for you new people that love Star Wars and are sick and tired of hearing what the old fans have to say, not all of them are racist. Not all of them are misogynist. In fact, I would almost guarantee a very small group of people are. Just because you think that's all you see, you are not the authority on what's racist and what isn't. Okay? You don't get to make that call. So let's all just shut up, watch these horrible shows, and if you watch them and you like them, then they're great to you. If you don't like what I'm saying, turn it the fuck off. There is that option, all right? Awesome. Wow. Man, I don't know. I don't know what to think. I don't know what to say. This is my first show, guys, and I know that it was a lot to take in. And I'm going to be doing more shows on a bunch of other things. I would love for people to subscribe, and I would love for people to like it, share it. Let's comment about it, guys. Because I'm not going to take a stance on either side. I'm not going to do it, so don't try to sway me that way. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to call it like I see it. I am open for debate, and what I'll do is hopefully if we get a fan base or if we get some subscribers, I'll do some live streams where I would rather talk to the people in the chat. Now, if there's a ton of people in the chat, I can't answer all the questions, but I would much rather do that than super chat. This is for the fans, for us to talk. I'm not shitting on anybody who makes money off of super chats or who does that. That's fine. That's your thing to do. But they're also going to make 9,000 videos about the same subject, saying the same thing over and 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 over again. I'm not going to do that, okay? I actually want to talk about some stuff that I like for a change. But the first couple of ones will be me making fun of stuff, because I need to catch up on certain things that I haven't for a while. What the hell's going on?
Hey, so you make another 2YouTube channel place and you leave me behind.
Oh no, old Batman.
Well, I'm here to talk about all the things you didn't talk about. I watched the Acolyte and it was awesome. It made me cry. You didn't talk about the virgins.
Virgins, not virgins. I already made that joke, old Batman.
Well, what about Asa losing her virgins? Popping her cherry into that sword. She had a red sword boner.
I don't know what to say to that. I have no, yeah. Nope.
I want to be on the Picto Cube again, to talk to the people on the interweb of nets.
No, never. The world has changed, my friend. It's way too PC now.
Well then how could you have a show without me? I'm pretty cool.
No, you're not. And PC means politically correct.
Politically correct? This show was made by Disney. Me and Walt used to do blow out of hookers' buttholes, allegedly. Well, I'm here to ruin your life and say all of the stuff. I'm Batman.
This isn't good for me. So in the comments, I will probably make a post of, hey, what fandom do you guys want me to talk about next? There will be another Star Wars video after this, where I do talk about just the fandoms. The reason why this video was made is because I heard about this show, and when I went to go watch it, and like I said, I always look online and watch YouTube stuff, I was just taken aback by how ridiculous the fandoms have gotten. And we will talk about that in the next episode. So, I'm Steve. This is Fighting Fandom, episode 1.
I'm still here. You know, I've been watching this Disney Star Wars. It's nothing like I remember Disney. There's a lot of women in this, and no sandwiches being made, and most of these women are...
You gonna say a bunch of racist crazy crap? Is that what you're gonna do? Make nobody like my show?
I made something that balances the Force. It tells the truth about the new Star Wars. End your show with that. Hit it, guy.